So I'm Scott. I'm one of the co-creators of Snapships and Snapships Tactics, which is our constructible miniatures battle game system, brand new, debuting here at Gen Con. What it is it's a totally modular constructible building system, kind of like Legos for spaceships. Everything's based off these little core cubes that snap together and they hold super tightly. You start with something like that, add on some wings and some engines and some weapons, and you get to a mini that looks like this, but again is totally modular and customizable, so you can be creative and create your own unit. So your ship on the battlefield is going to look totally different from everybody else's ship on the battlefield. So here's some examples of just some different units that people have built. Bring these around. All built off the same system.
Very cool. And now the different pieces do mean that they will have different functions in the actual game, yes?
Absolutely. That's kind of the whole point.
So these cards each represent a different part of the ship that you've used to construct?
Exactly. So after you've built your mini, you're going to mount it on a stand like this, circular stand that we made for the game. You're going to collect cards that match up with all the equipment that you mounted onto your ship. So you're going to start with a chassis card, which is sort of the core stats for your ship. It gives you your hull value and the number of energy cubes you get to work with. And then all these part cards match up with the pieces that I've actually mounted on my miniature. All these part cards have unique actions on them. And so together, this is my control panel that gives me a whole menu of things that I can do with this ship. And it's going to be totally different from a ship with, a completely different loadout as well.
So here is another ship with a completely different loadout.
Yep.
So now, a normal size game, how many ships per side of the fight?
So we play on a 3x3 playmat, similar size to something like X-Wing. You can play a 1v1 game pretty quickly, but it gets fun to start playing squadrons, so you want to scale up to 2v2, 3v3. The game is totally expandable in that way. Games just get a little bit longer and you have more ships to manage. But once you get to squadron level, then you can start building ships that have specific roles, like a support ship and a sniper that hangs back, and see how those perform.
Very cool. How many do you usually play in a side when you play the game?
I like to play 2 ships versus 2 ships. 3 ships gets even more involved in a longer game, and you can fit them all on one mat. But I like about the 2 ship size. Okay. Now there's different size of units too. These guys are what we call 4-point ships. We have smaller like scout ships that mount fewer parts, and then we have some bigger ships.
Oh wow!
That go up to 8 parts, and their chassis has more energy to work with.
So is that the largest size ship right now?
Currently it is, yeah.
Okay.
But we've got room to grow in the future as well.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Let me show you some of the unique mechanics we got working here too. So a couple of things. When you move across the battlefield, we do all movement with a single move tool.
Okay.
So there's not like a whole bunch of templates to juggle. This tool just docks to the front of your stand and sort of clicks in, and then you just pick up your model and move it forward. So that's a long move.
Okay.
There's also a short move, and then this thing can be docked to any angle. So you might have a part, like if we look at this part here, this allows a short move at the diagonal. So you would dock your tool to the diagonal side and make a kind of a sideways hop like that.
I see. Interesting.
Rotations are done by clicking from one line to the next, so you can rotate left or right. But in our game, you can choose to rotate less than the full amount. So say you're trying to line up a shot or get to some cover, you can do it that way as well. So that's movement. Okay. Let me show you real quick another unique thing about combat. So you're gonna get in range of your enemy, right?
Right. Ooh, yeah.
Line up to take a shot. You'll measure range.
Okay.
You'll measure arc to make sure that your guns are facing. You'll roll dice to see if you hit, and then let's say you get a critical hit. Okay. All right. If you get a critical hit, you'll deal damage. Then you get to roll it again. I rolled a 2. We'll go to my enemy's control panel and we'll count 1, 2.
Oh, you destroy that system.
My critical hit landed on his wings, and they're damaged and taken out for at least a turn.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to have to spend energy to get these wings back online.
And that's the little repair mark there.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Oh,
So that
very
can
cool.
totally change the dynamics of a battle when you start landing critical hits and kind of wrecking the other person's ship.
And then now, do you just have to destroy a certain number of systems to take a ship fully out of the game? Or?
You have to take their hull down to 0. So yeah, we have a little hull tracker dial. So you're going to deal regular damage based on your weapons. That's going to knock their hull down.
So the regular damage would be the number you rolled the first time, but if you roll a critical, that will actually take down the system.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got it.
Does the critical also do regular damage? Or
It does. It does do regular damage. And another thing, so let me show you one other cool thing. So the way a ship takes its turn is you get to spend energy cubes on your parts to do different actions, okay?
Okay.
So this is kind of your menu of actions. So let's say it's my turn and I want to fire my mantis laser. I would pay 2 energy cubes on my mantis laser and then take the shot, etc. I have 7 energy cubes to spend, and I can spend them in any order. And do so I could spend on movement, then I could spend on taking a shot, and then maybe I spend to get my evasion up or something like that.
Very cool.
So you have a lot of freedom to do things there. Some of the parts cost heat though. Like see this.
that's the red.
Red is these cubes are free. You get them from the supply, but if this part gets critical hit and this card gets flipped, you'll take an additional damage for every heat cube that's on there.
Oh, I see.
So carrying extra heat can be a little bit of a risk.
Oh, yes.
If you're loaded up like that. So, you know.
And every time you use it, it takes 2 heat because it has the 2 little red cubes.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, I see.
And then at the start of your ship's turn, right here, you get to vent 5 cubes, which means you only get 5 cubes back from your ship.
Or remove 5 heat.
Or remove 5 heat, exactly. Or any combination. And if any cubes are left on your parts, you can't use them until you completely vent them off.
Oh, really?
And get them ready again.
Okay.
So you got 7 cubes to work with, but you're only going to get 5 back each turn. So you really have to plan your turns and think about how you're going to spend your energy, what you're going to cool off, and all that.
That's very clever.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Last thing to show you, terrain. So these are the terrain tiles that come in the starter box. They're double-sided.
Oh, nice.
In our game, terrain is friendly. It acts like cover. You want to be in it.
Okay.
And whenever you move into a piece of terrain, you get a benefit.
Okay.
So if you move into the ice cloud, you immediately get to vent a cube from one of your parts and get it back to reuse again. This is a Tycho's Rift. It gives you an extra move, extra long move in the same direction.
You're
almost
doing like a gravity assist.
Yeah, like a speed boost. The debris fields give you an extra evasion, make you harder to hit, some more defense. And let's see, we got an asteroid field here somewhere. Yeah, asteroid fields are cool because if you're being chased by missiles, you might be able to dump the missiles into the asteroids.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So there's no extra difficulty in movement for them. They just aid you 100%.
Absolutely, and it's great to be inside of them. Now, of course, the ships are always in motion, so you're forced to do some movement at the start of each of your turns.
Inertia.
So you can't just hang out in cover. You kind of have to think about how you're going to fly around and use the cover to your advantage.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. So how long does it usually take to play a game of Snapship Tactics?
So if you know what you're doing, I'd say a 1v1 can take like 25 minutes.
Oh, that's fast.
But it scales up from there. So maybe a 2v2 takes an hour, maybe a 3v3 takes a little longer than that as well.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for showing us your game.
Yeah, can I show you a couple more things?
Of course.
There's more.
I'm glad. What else we got?
So one thing that's cool is inside, so this starter box pretty much comes with everything you see here, minus the mat and minus these cool plastic consoles that are holding my cards here.
Okay.
So it's got all the terrain, the dice, 2 ships worth of parts, extra parts for building and customizing.
Okay.
And then it's got 6 AI decks in it.
Oh.
So you can actually run an enemy ship off a deck of cards.
To play solo.
To play solo, exactly. And it's so like you can build a ship and test it against the AI to see how it performs. And if it doesn't perform well, maybe you want to rebuild it and try again.
That's very cool.
So yeah, these AI cards, they're just a series of sort of like checks to see where you are, and then you do actions very similar to what you're used to in the main game for the AI. And
Very cool.
it's a pretty effective dogfighter.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah. So the starter box has everything you need to get going, 1v1 or solo. And then on top of the starter box, we have some extra ships that you can add into your game to make bigger games and have more parts to work with. And
so cool.
All of these ships add unique parts as well. The only thing that's common between these ships and the starter box are like the core cubes.
Right.
That build up the fuselage, but all the details, the cockpits, the weapons are all unique, and they all work together.
And do they all come with their own set of decks of the cards?
They do, yeah. We bundle them with the cards
and
as well.
how do you get these really cool customizable ship dashboards?
Those are sort of these are sort of a premium Kickstarter item that we offered as an add-on, and we sell them on our online store right now. Until they're all gone. They actually connect together and as well, so they're modular, and they actually have these building pegs. So if you want to build a giant cargo ship just for fun, you got pegs here that are in system, and you can use these plates in your giant ship builds and things like that as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
my
showing
pleasure.
Us your game, Snap. This is Snap Ship Tactics. Again, you got a starter set with 2 ships, and then there are plenty of expansion packs with more ships, more cards, more parts to customize and make your own ships. Really awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.